I am a divorce attorney with 8 years of experience, but the Taylor case changed how I view marriage forever. Michael seemed devastated when he first walked into my office, confused by his wife suddenly wanting out. When I met Sophia Taylor, something felt off. She was too calm, too prepared, with this slight smirk that made my skin crawl. I had no idea I was looking at someone who had been orchestrating every moment of their 12-year marriage as part of an elaborate scheme. Tell me where you are watching from. Hit that like and subscribe button before we continue, because this story will show you how vulnerable we all are to someone playing the long game. My name is Duke, a 32-year-old divorce attorney based in Boston. I got into this field after watching my parents tear each other apart during their split when I was in college. That experience showed me how people need an advocate who can protect them when they are at their most vulnerable. Over the years, I have built a reputation for being exceptionally thorough, particularly when it comes to finding hidden assets. When you have seen hundreds of marriages dissolve, you develop a certain perspective on relationships. I believe in love, but also in protecting yourself. My office sits on the 15th floor of a downtown building with views of the harbor. Most of my clients are professionals, business owners, or their spouses. I pride myself on being prepared for anything, but nothing prepared me for the Taylor case. My assistant Amanda was actually the first to notice something strange. After Sophia Taylor left our initial consultation, Amanda said, "That woman gives me the creeps. She seems way too happy about getting divorced." My first meeting with Michael Taylor revealed a broken man. At 38, the tech entrepreneur looked like he had aged a decade overnight. His clothes were wrinkled, his eyes red-rimmed from crying, and his hands shook as he described his situation. Michael and Sophia had been married for 12 years and had 2 children, James 10 and Lily 8. According to him, they had built a beautiful life together in their suburban home. "I just do not understand," he said, voice cracking. "We were happy. At least I thought we were. We rarely fought. She supported me through all the lean years building my company. Now that we finally have money coming in, she wants out. It makes no sense." What struck me immediately was the timing. Sophia had filed for divorce exactly 3 days after his company received its first major valuation of $30 million. When I pointed this out, Michael looked stunned, as if this correlation had never occurred to him. "That has to be a coincidence," he said. "Sophia was always my biggest supporter." Something in his desperate need to believe in his wife made my heart sink. I have seen many blindsided spouses, but Michael seemed particularly in the dark about what was happening in his own marriage. Sophia Taylor arrived at our office the following day for her initial consultation with her attorney. At 36, she was impeccably dressed in a designer suit, not a hair out of place. While most people show some sign of stress during divorce proceedings, Sophia was remarkably composed. She brought with her a leather portfolio containing meticulously organized financial documents spanning their entire relationship. "I just want what is fair," she said with a smile that never reached her eyes. "Michael has been so focused on his business that he barely contributed to our home life. I was essentially a single parent while supporting his dreams. Now that those dreams have finally paid off, I deserve my share." What struck me as odd was a comment she made when discussing potential settlement dates. "The timeline is working out perfectly," she said almost to herself. Her attorney shot her a warning look, and she quickly backtracked, but that moment stuck with me. Who plans the timing of their divorce with such precision? Her demands were specific and aggressive, particularly regarding Michael's business. She wanted 40% ownership, claiming she had been an invisible partner all along. Most spouses in divorces ask for general amounts or percentages. Sophia had exact figures and specific assets identified. As we began the standard discovery process, irregularities started emerging immediately. During our review of financial disclosures, Michael repeatedly expressed confusion about accounts he claimed to know nothing about. "I never opened this account," he said, pointing to a statement from an investment firm. "I have never even heard of this company." Sophia's lawyer maintained an aggressive stance throughout, displaying unusual confidence, even when we questioned these discrepancies. During her first deposition, Sophia displayed perfect recall of every financial decision made throughout their marriage. She could cite exact figures from transactions years ago without referencing any documents. The moment that truly set off alarm bells was during questioning about Michael's business. When he mentioned a new contract his company had just secured, Sophia's mouth curled into a knowing smirk. It was brief but unmistakable, as if she had anticipated this development. That evening I called Michael. "I think we need to go beyond the standard financial investigation," I told him. "Something is not adding up here, and I want to make sure we have the full picture." "Whatever it takes," he replied. "I am starting to feel like I never really knew my wife at all." The deeper we dug into the Taylors' finances, the more disturbing the picture became. I hired Sarah Jacobson, a forensic accountant who specializes in high-conflict divorces. Sarah began analyzing more than 12 years of financial records, going back to before Michael and Sophia were married. "I have never seen anything like this," Sarah told me after 2 weeks of investigation. "There has been a systematic siphoning of small amounts from joint accounts since the beginning of their marriage. Small enough that they would not raise red flags, but consistent enough to accumulate significant sums. She showed me a pattern of transfers, typically between $100 and $500, moving from joint accounts to accounts solely in Sophia's name. These accounts then fed into offshore accounts in the Cayman Islands that had been established 3 months before their wedding day. Even more telling was the discovery that Sophia had been taking business and financial planning courses throughout their marriage, always paying in cash and using her maiden name. She had obtained certifications in investment strategy and corporate valuation, all without Michael's knowledge. This is the most methodical financial planning I have seen in 20 years of forensic accounting," Sarah concluded. She was building a separate financial identity from the very beginning. When we presented these findings to Michael, he looked physically ill. "We could barely afford rent when we first got married," he whispered. "She was already hiding money back then. How did I not see this? The financial investigation was just the beginning." With court approval, we conducted a forensic examination of the couple's shared home computer. What we found was astonishing. Hidden behind multiple layers of password protection were folders containing meticulous records of Michael's career trajectory. The computer specialist discovered a secret email account, future.planning.sophia@email.com. This account contained years of correspondence with financial advisors and what appeared to be personal notes to herself about her long-term strategy. Most damning were the spreadsheets tracking Michael's career progress on a quarterly basis. These included projections of his potential earnings that dated back to before they were even married. There were screenshots of his private work emails that she had saved documenting conversations about potential business opportunities and company growth. Perhaps most chilling was a calendar with specific dates marked for major life events. Their wedding, the birth of each child home purchase, and ultimately the divorce filing. The divorce date was marked as optimal extraction point and had been created years earlier, strategically timed to coincide with the expected growth of Michael's business. "She has been taking screenshots of my private emails for years," Michael said, his voice hollow with disbelief. "Some of these are from password-protected accounts. How did she even access these?" As we expanded our investigation, we began interviewing friends and acquaintances of the couple. The picture that emerged was of a woman who had approached her marriage as a strategic business venture from the very beginning. Jessica, Sophia's college roommate, revealed something particularly disturbing. Sophia had this husband criteria checklist in college. She was not looking for love, she was looking for potential. She told me finding a husband was her most important investment, and she needed someone who would eventually be successful even if they were not rich yet. According to Jessica, Sophia had specifically targeted men in technology or finance with promising ideas but limited current success. She said they would be more grateful to have her and less likely to request prenuptial agreements, making it easier to secure her future. The couple's regular babysitter mentioned that Sophia would often ask her to report if Michael received any important-sounding phone calls while she was out. His business partner recalled how intensely interested Sophia had always been in the company's valuation and potential buyout options, asking detailed questions that seemed unusual for a spouse with no official role in the business. We also discovered that Sophia had been methodically cultivating relationships with influential people in Michael's industry, positioning herself independently within his professional network. She had attended industry events alone, making connections that could potentially be valuable regardless of her marital status. The most damning evidence came from a digital journal recovered through specialized computer forensics. This journal contained entries dating back 14 years, predating their relationship by 2 years. In it, Sophia explicitly discussed targeting Michael for his high-growth potential after meeting him at an industry networking event. The journal contained calculations about the optimal timing for marriage, children, home purchase, and eventually divorce. She had notes on Michael's psychological vulnerabilities and specific strategies for how to exploit them to maintain control in the relationship. Target responds well to affirmation regarding his business acumen, one entry read. Expressing doubt about competing companies reinforces his confidence and attachment to me as his supporter. She had developed detailed strategies to appear as the perfect supportive wife while systematically preparing for an eventual separation. There was even a comprehensive exit strategy timed to maximize her financial gain. An entry from 1 week before filing for divorce read, simply target value achieved. Initiate extraction protocol. After discovering the extent of Sophia's deception, I spent several sleepless nights organizing the overwhelming evidence into a coherent narrative. Michael and I met with our team of financial experts to prepare a comprehensive counterattack. His emotional journey had evolved from devastation to determination as the full picture emerged. "I need to protect myself and my children," he said during one of our strategy sessions. "Not just financially, but from the manipulation. I cannot let her keep playing these games." I knew the confrontation would be difficult for Michael, so we spent time preparing him emotionally as well as strategically. We decided to request a special mediation session, presenting it as an opportunity to settle quickly. "Let them think we are intimidated and ready to cave," I explained to Michael. "The element of surprise will be crucial." I called Sophia's attorney, suggesting we meet to discuss a potential settlement. "My client is feeling overwhelmed and wants to resolve this amicably," I said, playing into their expectations that Michael would be an easy target. For the mediation, we assembled our full team: Sarah, the forensic accountant, our computer expert, and several witnesses on standby. Everything was in place for what I expected would be a dramatic confrontation. The mediation meeting was set in the conference room at my firm. Sophia arrived with her attorney, both exuding confidence. She wore an expensive suit and a smile that suggested she was already counting her winnings. Her lawyer immediately presented a settlement offer that would have given Sophia control of 40% of Michael's business and the majority of their assets. "Before we respond to your offer," I said calmly, "we would like to review a few documents that might impact our negotiations." What followed was a methodical presentation of evidence that I had carefully orchestrated for maximum impact. We started with seemingly minor financial discrepancies, watching as Sophia maintained her composure, offering plausible explanations for each. Then we escalated to the offshore accounts established before their marriage. Her lawyer shifted uncomfortably, but Sophia remained calm, claiming they were investments she had made with inheritance money, though no such inheritance could be documented. As we continued presenting evidence, the atmosphere in the room gradually shifted. When we revealed the secret email account and the spreadsheets tracking Michael's career, Sophia's composed facade began to show cracks. Her lawyer whispered urgently to her, clearly surprised by these revelations. Then came the moment for Michael's controlled emotional confrontation. He looked directly at his wife of 12 years, the mother of his children, and asked quietly, "Was any of it ever real, Sophia? Did you ever love me at all, or was I just a project to you?" Sophia initially denied everything, attempting to paint our evidence as misinterpreted or taken out of context. "You are trying to make normal financial planning look sinister," she argued. "Of course I was planning for our future." I then presented the journal entries in chronological order, displaying them on a screen for everyone to see. Her lawyer's expression grew increasingly concerned with each damning entry. We watched Sophia's realization dawn as she understood that her perfect plan had been completely exposed. "I just plan better than most people do," she finally said, dropping all pretense. Everyone makes calculated decisions in relationships. I was just more thorough about it. Michael maintained his dignity despite learning that his entire married life had been someone's strategic chess game. I built my business to take care of our family, he said. You built our family to take care of yourself. The final piece of evidence was devastating. A recording of Sophia telling a friend that her marriage was just a business transaction that was finally paying dividends. The recording had been legally obtained from a witness who had been present during the conversation. Hearing her own voice so callously discussing their marriage was the breaking point. Sophia's facade shattered completely. In a surprising moment of candor, she admitted to selecting Michael as an investment opportunity after evaluating multiple potential husbands. You should be flattered, she said, her voice cold. I interviewed dozens of men. You had the most potential with the least awareness of your own value. It was the perfect combination. Her lawyer looked stunned at this admission and immediately requested to speak with Sophia privately. When they returned to the room 10 minutes later, the change was evident. Sophia's lawyer asked for a brief recess to reassess our position, unable to meet anyone's eyes. The settlement negotiations completely reversed after our presentation of evidence. When the judge reviewed our findings in chambers, her shocked reaction was evident. In 20 years on the bench, I have never seen such calculated manipulation, she said. The final ruling protected Michael's business interests entirely, with Sophia receiving only her fair share of legitimately joint marital assets. The court rejected her claim to the business, noting that strategic planning to capitalize on a spouse's success does not constitute contribution to that success. The financial outcome was vastly different from Sophia's original plan. Instead of walking away with millions and partial ownership of a growing technology company, she received a standard division of their household assets and no stake in Michael's business. She tried to claim she deserved credit for my success because she supported me. Michael told me after the ruling, the judge said that was like a passenger claiming they flew the plane because they did not cause it to crash. In the months that followed, Michael focused on processing the truth about his 12-year marriage. His primary concern was protecting James and Lily from knowing the full extent of their mother's deception. They love their mom, and they should, he said. They do not need to know she viewed them as strategic assets in a long-term financial plan. Michael entered therapy to help him recognize the warning signs he had missed and to work through the trust issues that inevitably emerged from such a profound betrayal. Slowly, he began rebuilding his sense of self and his ability to trust his own judgment. Despite everything, he worked to establish a healthy co-parenting relationship with Sophia. The kids deserve that much, he explained. I will not use them as pawns the way she used all of us. Michael found meaning and purpose beyond the deception by focusing on his children and his company's mission to develop accessibility technology. He began mentoring young entrepreneurs, warning them to protect themselves while remaining open to genuine partnerships. Each small victory in reclaiming his narrative helped him heal. I will not let this destroy my ability to trust, he told me over lunch, a year after the divorce was finalized. That would mean she wins twice. The Taylor case profoundly impacted my professional approach as well. I implemented new protocols in my practice to look for similar patterns of long-term manipulation. Surprisingly, we discovered several other cases with similar, though less extreme, calculations at their core. My reputation for uncovering hidden agendas grew, bringing clients specifically concerned about being strategically targeted. The case also affected my personal views on relationships and trust. While I had always been somewhat cynical due to my profession, the Taylor case showed me that deception could span decades with extraordinary patience. I developed workshops to help people protect themselves legally and financially while remaining emotionally open to authentic connections. The goal was not to make people paranoid, but to help them establish healthy boundaries. Michael and I maintained a friendship long after his case concluded. I watched with satisfaction as he rebuilt his life on a foundation of genuine connections rather than strategic calculations. The irony, he told me, is that I am now much more careful about who I let into my life, but the relationships I do have are more authentic than anything I had with Sophia. 3 years after the divorce, Michael began dating a child psychologist he met through his son's school. Their relationship developed slowly, built on honest communication and transparent expectations. Watching them together, you could see the difference between strategic affection and genuine care. As for Sophia, her life took an unexpected turn after her plans collapsed. Without the massive financial windfall she had anticipated, she was forced to rebuild her life on different terms. She found work at a financial planning firm but struggled to advance as rumors about her divorce settlement circulated in professional circles. The most surprising development came through the children. James and Lily, now teenagers, began asking more questions about the divorce as they grew older. While Michael never disparaged their mother, the contrast between his authentic relationships and her more calculated interactions became apparent to them. "Kids are more perceptive than we give them credit for," Michael observed. "They have started to see through some of their mother's behaviors, and that has actually led to more honest conversations between them. Ironically, her relationship with them is becoming more genuine now that her perfect plan failed." This case taught me profound lessons about human connection. Trust always involves vulnerability, but vulnerability without awareness is just naivety. The healthiest relationships balance openness with appropriate boundaries, allowing love to flourish within a framework of mutual respect and honesty. What red flags have you noticed in relationships that seemed perfect from the outside? Share your experiences in the comments below. If this story resonated with you, please hit that like button and subscribe to hear more insights from my years as a divorce attorney. Your shares help others recognize the warning signs of manipulation in their own relationships. Thank you for listening to this difficult story. Remember, protecting yourself does not mean closing your heart. It just means loving wisely.